Good morning and welcome to Morning Flow. I'm Leo Bray coming to you on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center in Palm Springs. This is not Urban Yoga Center. This is my home studio. Every day, you never know where we're going to be when we log into the Zoom. But here we are today at my house because the building where the studio is closed for today, for Indigenous Peoples Day, the holiday. Visit us online at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook or at urbanyoga.org on your web browser. And check out our class schedule. We have Zoom classes every day, in-person classes 4 times a week that are broadcast on Zoom from the northeast corner of Ruth Hardy Park, Thursday through Sunday morning. And there's a tip jar online where you can make contributions to support classes you enjoy via Zoom or YouTube. So we'll start today in a reclined posture. Soles of the feet together, lying on your back. Now, some people like to put their feet together and then lie down. Some people like to lie down and then put their feet together. Whatever works for you. If you've got yoga blocks, you might put them under the outside of your legs to make the posture more passive. And if this doesn't feel good to have your feet together and your knees splayed, you could just rest the soles of your feet on the floor and let your knees lean in towards each other like that. Sometimes it's a bit much in the hips. Your hands can rest on the floor, or they can rest on your body, maybe feeling your heartbeat, feeling the movement of your breath, your belly moving up and down. Close your eyes if you wish, and observe your breath. Allow it to slow down and get deeper. Taking in those movements of the breathing and the sensations, tripping over my tongue, the sensations that accompany those movements. Feeling that nice full grounding contact you have with the floor, the way your body is supported by the floor, maybe by blocks if you're using blocks. Feeling into whatever sensations are present for you, extending outward from the grounding, the movement of the breath, what else is going on in your body. Taking a full inventory of sensation. Noting in particular anything that might not feel good so that you can keep these things in mind during practice, remembering that you're welcome to skip or modify any portion of what I'll be offering. Consider all the cues, suggestions. It's all optional with the breathing. Whenever your attention wavers during practice, your mind wanders a bit, just gently redirect, come back to these central points of focus, listening to your body, noticing your breathing, taking care of yourself. These are our shared intentions. If you wish to set a more specific intention personal to you, you can do so now. Let that finish forming and sink in. Now let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths. In through the nose, out through your mouth with a sighing sound. If you have the soles of your feet together and your knees splayed apart, let your arms help your legs. Bring your hands to the outsides of your knees Like closing a book, nudge your knees towards each other and let the soles of your feet come to rest on the floor. If you were using blocks, move the blocks well out of the way. I'm going to do some twists here. I don't want the blocks to get in the way of twisting. We're going to use a strap today. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a belt or two belts tied together. You could use a sash off your belt, bathrobe, or even a bath towel. Bring your knees towards your chest. You're going to run your strap, or what you got instead of a strap, under your feet and hold one end in each hand. If it's a strap like this, some people like to make a loop of the strap. I'm not a fan of that myself, but some people do. Now, before we go on from here, notice your contact with the floor. We want to keep the back of the head and the shoulder blades and the sacrum on the floor and reach your feet towards the ceiling. So not worrying about angles here, just long legs, long strap, long arms, but stay grounded in the back of your body. And a little warming up here. Point your toes towards the ceiling, take a nice long breath or two. And point your toes down towards your face and take a couple breaths there. Warming the legs up a bit. Let your feet relax. Now slide your feet apart and keep them inside your strap. This is the reason I don't like to loop my strap. If I have my strap tied in a loop, I can't go this far. And I like to go out here. So just go as far as you want to. Take a couple breaths there. And then pulling on the ends of your strap, slide your feet back together. Now we're going to explore 4 positions, 2 on each side, and we're going to do each one for a couple minutes. Can bring about some pretty profound release in the hips. So this is a series I often do at the end of practice, and we do it for a few breaths instead of 2 minutes. So we'll see the difference when we do it for 2 minutes. Take your right foot out of there and press the back of your right leg down along the floor. Hold your strap with your right hand. Reach your left arm to the side. Now your shoulder blades will stay on the floor. Your sacrum will lift as you do this. Use the strap, pull your leg gently to the right, and turn your head to the left. And what I do, my breaths are kind of long. I count 24 breaths, gives me about 2 minutes here. So I'm not looking at the clock. The clock's actually over my right shoulder. I'm just going to count breaths. When you practice on your own, maybe you'd prefer to use a timer. Maybe you don't want to do 2 minutes. Maybe you want to do 1. Or maybe after you get into it, you want to do 3. I have one of those fancy Apple Watches, and I used to use a timer and do this, and my watch has mostly stopped working. Developed this weird glitch where half the screen looks like it got black ink spilled on it. It still responds to touch, but you can't read that half of the screen. Really limits the usefulness of the device. We're about halfway through my estimated 2 minutes. And yes, it's easier to count your breaths if you're not talking. But maybe already you're feeling some different sensations than you did when you first came into the posture. Maybe your leg has gone over to the right a bit more. The hip is open. All kinds of sensations can come up. And you can always change the position of your leg. If a sensation comes up that's a bit too much, you can back out of the twist, adjust the tension of the strap, whatever you need to do as the posture evolves and the body responds to holding the position. So we're not statues. We're not aiming to be perfectly still. Let the body respond. Maybe by going deeper, maybe by backing up. We'll come slowly back up to center. Take the strap in your left hand Now you want to take your right hand and press down on the front of your right hip bone. You want to keep your pelvis from rolling. So think of keeping the right butt cheek on the floor and let your limbs fall over to the left. So here we're not going for spinal twist, no need to turn your head. Now some people don't like the way it feels to have that leg hanging in the air. You could put a yoga block over there between your leg and the floor to catch your leg. I don't mind the leg hanging, but it bothers some people. Now this can produce sensation in either hip or in both hips. Generally, the leg will lower a bit more as you hang out in the posture, and it might surprise you by suddenly touching down on the ground, or depending on the mobility you have in your joints, maybe your leg touched the ground right away. For me, I had to do this, I don't know how many times. I had to do this a bunch of times before the leg ever touched the floor on this outward stretch. These days, it only takes a few breaths to get there most of the time. Every day is a new exploration. This series is definitely one that I enjoy doing almost every day. And when I don't do it, I definitely feel the lack. A couple months ago, I had an issue going on in my lower back towards this left hip. And so I didn't do this for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And when I got back to doing it, yikes, there was quite a difference in getting back into it. I love how this one feels. It certainly does take some getting used to. When you're new at this, it's really a lot of sensation, and it's okay to just have your leg up higher to regulate the sensation. Don't want to do anything that feels like too much. And gently explore that edge of resistance, that edge of your comfort zone. And maybe another 20 seconds. And coming out of this one, we want to go very slowly and gently. So really take your time, bring those limbs back to center line. We're going to switch legs. So raise your right leg, slide your right foot inside there. Take your left foot out and press the back of your left leg down. Reach your right arm out to the side. Remember, shoulders stay grounded. Draw your leg over to the left and turn your head to the right. And let your breath wring you out. See what happens over these 2 minutes. So different adjustments I make along the way. Sometimes it's the grip on the strap, the position of the arm, the tension on the strap to adjust the position of the leg. Sometimes you find after a few breaths you need to adjust the position of your head. I've learned over time that if my chin is dipped too far towards my shoulder as my head's turned, this strains the neck. So I'm not looking directly to the side, I'm actually looking slightly up, lifting the chin a little away from the shoulder, because that feels better in my neck. The neck can be a place where we store a lot of excess tension, and necks can be stiff, especially in the morning. I haven't done anything for them yet to work out the kinks of sleeping. We'll do some when we sit up. You never know which exhale might just suddenly bring a little more release, open the way to a little deepening of the posture. And take your time to bring everything back to center line, your head, your leg, and your arm. Take the strap with your right hand. Press your left hand down to the front of your left hip. Let your limbs fall over to the right, keeping the left hip anchored so the pelvis doesn't roll. So if the left hip were to lift, if the left cheek comes off the ground, then the whole pelvis is tilting to the right. And that would mean that the right hip isn't opening anymore. For each degree that the pelvis twists, that's a degree that the hip's not getting. So keeping the pelvis roughly squared to the floor just allows more room for that outer hip to open. And maybe this side opens more easily than the other side. Maybe the other side was the easier one, or maybe they seem about the same. Even when things seem to open pretty easily and the leg goes over and down pretty quickly, staying in the posture, keeping the gentle guiding tension on the strap will sometimes bring a further degree of release that you didn't even know you needed. You didn't even know was there. So release isn't always about addressing something severe or real obvious tension. Hips are particularly tricky in this regard, like when we work with pigeon pose. You can be in pigeon pose and feeling really open and pretty flat to the ground, and then let out a big exhale, and you just went closer to the ground when you thought you were as far as you could go. Remember, nice and easy to come out of this one. Bring those limbs back up to center and lift your left leg. Draw your knees in and set the strap aside out of the way. You can hug your knees and rock side to side or roll in circles, massage your back against the floor. And start to rock front to back, roll your spine along the floor. If this doesn't feel good for you, you could instead tip onto one side and press up to a seat. We'll all meet sitting up. Not everyone likes that rolling back and forth. Find a comfortable seat. It doesn't have to look just like my comfortable seat. Find grounding again. Think of the length of your spine, sitting tall without being stiff or rigid. And let's go ahead and work on the neck. Let your chin come down towards your chest and start out really slowly. Roll your ear towards your shoulder and let your head tip back, continuing in slow, gentle circles. If you encounter any particular tightness, you might pause at the tight spot and rock back and forth to ease that out. Change direction, take a few circles the other way. And when you finish the next circle, look forward again, lift your chin. Bring your hands out to the sides and rest your fingertips on the floor, keeping the length in your spine there, staying tall. Inhale, reach your right arm up alongside your ear. As you exhale, reach across to the left. Feel for length from your hip up through your fingertips. Inhale to come upright. As you exhale, float the right hand down to the floor behind you. Bring your left hand over to your right leg. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Exhale, see if your body wants to twist a bit more. And repeat that for a couple more breaths. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, invite a little more twisting. And come back to center. Inhale, raise your left arm. Exhale, reach to the right. It's interesting, I often do these twists near the beginning of practice. Doing them after that series with the strap, I find that the seated twist goes deeper, goes further more easily, because we did the lower spinal twist as we were doing the hip work. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come into your other seated twist. Inhale, find the length. Exhale, explore the twist. Go on back to center. And let's come up onto our hands and knees. Open your hands way up. Bring your shoulders above your wrists, your hips above your knees. Inhale, bring your heart forward, let your head and tailbone go up. Exhale, bring your heart up, let your head and tailbone go down. Continue for a few more rounds of breath at your pace. And after your next exhale, come back to table with your spine neutral to the ground. Reach back and press into the ball of your right foot. Take a couple breaths. With an inhale, pick your foot up and reach straight back, like you want to make a footprint on the wall. With your next inhale, reach your left arm out to the side like you want to tap the other wall with your fingertips. Bend your leg, reach back, see about taking a bind. Can you take hold of your foot, your ankle, your pant leg? Kick into your hand, raise your knee, raise your chin. Release and lower down. Reach back and press into the ball of your left foot. Take a couple breaths. Let that leg lengthen. With an inhale, pick your foot up, reach straight back. With an inhale, reach your right arm to the side. Maybe after doing the strap series for a couple minutes each position, you find that the bind is easier or you get a deeper stretch from your bind here. Release and lower down. Step your right foot up between your hands and step your left foot up to meet it. Hang out in your forward fold, exploring movement as you like, swaying back and forth, bending and straightening your legs. Maybe your hands drag on the floor. Maybe they hang in the air. We'll hold on to your elbows. Arms heavy, head heavy. Nod your head. Shake your head. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, roll up to standing, hands overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let your hands hang at your sides. Raise your right shoulder towards your ear. Shift it back and let it down. And your left shoulder up, back, down. Inhale, reach out to the sides. As you exhale, reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself. Or if you like, you could take eagle arms. Intertwine your arms, bring your palms together. If you take eagle, then you can move your elbows and hands forward and up. Breathe into the big space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, open up again. As you exhale, cross the other way. Reach for your shoulder blades or take your eagle. Inhale, open up. Exhale, let your arms down. Inhale, out and up. Interlace your fingers. Flip your palms up. And look up at your hands and lift up your heart. Inhale to bring yourself upright. Exhale to bend to the left. Feel for length through both arms. Inhale to come upright again. Exhale to bend to your right. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, let your arms come down. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back to a plank. Find a nice long plank. Take a couple breaths here. Really feel that solid plank shape. Exhaling slowly, lower all the way down, elbows in close by the rib cage. Let everything down on the floor. Press into your hands. Inhale, lift your head and chest to whatever height of heart opener is right for you on each pass. Maybe it's cobra, maybe it's up dog, maybe it's a real low cobra. Listen to your lower back. Exhale, rock back, pass through table. Curl your toes under. Press into your feet to lift your knees. Press into your hands to lift your tail. Downward dog. Walk your dog for a few breaths. Pedal those feet up and down. Eventually finding some stillness in your dog for a breath or two. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come down. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, down. Plant your hands and step back to plank. This time as you exhale, lower just halfway. Drop your knees if you like. Inhale, bring your heart forward. Exhale, back and up. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come down. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, down. Step back to plank. Exhaling, lower halfway. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, back and up to down dog. And let's take 3 cleansing breaths in this last down dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. A different way to come to forward fold from downward dog. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, come down. Soft knees, heavy arms. Let your arms swing front to back. Let those knees be bouncy. Let the weight of your arms pick up momentum so the swinging keeps getting bigger. When you're ready, swing your arms up. Sit back to chair, releasing and down towards the floor. Bring your hands to your heart. Keep your hands centered on your chest. Keep your spine nice and long. Keep your knees lined up just like they are. Exhaling, twist to the right any amount without losing the alignment. If you go deep in the twist and your elbow gets outside your knee, you might like to open your arms. A lot of people like this. Spread the wings. Bring your hands back to center. Slowly with control. Inhale through center. Exhale, twist to your left. And if you like, explore opening your arms. Bring your hands back in if they're apart. Inhale through center. Big exhale, fold. Inhale, roll slowly to standing, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. I'm going to grab a sip of my water. And we're going to play with a couple of balances, tuning into the hips. Since we did that nice opening sequence for the hips, both of these balances, we're going to explore more hip action, really bring out some stuff in the hips, see how they feel after. So each of these balances will start the same way, hands at your heart. Set your gaze on something that won't move, something straight ahead. Shift your weight from one leg to the other with your feet planted. This is the same way I often like to start in the tree pose. We won't be doing tree pose, we'll do a couple other things here today. When you're ready, bring the weight into your right leg, let the knee stay soft and responsive. Pick up your left knee, cross your left ankle above your right knee, then turn your left knee towards the floor, flex your left toes towards your shin. And we're going to release like we just did for chair pose, but only on that right leg, like you were going to sit down on a bench with your legs crossed. Keep pressing your hands together into your sternum. Think of the elbows approaching the knee and the foot or the ankle. Maybe there's contact, maybe there isn't. Sometimes this is called standing half pigeon. We get into the hip in some similar ways to pigeon pose. And anytime we can let the foot down and start over. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. But grabbing the leg when you stand up is a bonus. It feels kind of neat, but it's really something to do when you get down low, if you get down that low. It's optional. Didn't say that in advance. Shift back and forth. Little inexact cueing there. When you're ready, bring the weight to your left leg and pick up your right knee. Cross your ankle, turn the knee down, flex the toes up. Take your time releasing down, find your other cross-legged seat, and each side is going to be different. Maybe it's a noticeable difference, maybe it's big, maybe you don't notice much difference. And when you do get this contact with the elbows, it's nicely stabilizing. Let's just let it happen if it's going to happen. Can't really force it. It's a releasing down. So when we come out, we inhale and straighten the standing leg. And you can either keep your hands together like this, or if you feel steadier here, you might try holding this leg as you come up. And it feels neat in that hip socket. And it looks fun, which is just bonus. Okay. The other one's a little more challenging, maybe a little more fun. Very different action in the hip. Starts the same way. We do a little shifting back and forth to reset everything. When you're ready, bring the weight to your right leg. Lift your left knee. Now keep your right hand at your sternum. Drop your left hand and grab your foot or your leg. So I'm going to grab my big toe because that's what works for me. You could grab the inside or outside of your foot, ankle, shin, calf, or behind the knee, whatever works for you. And then reach the foot forward to whatever degree you can. If you want, you might open the leg to the side, and you might open the other arm out too. And then the challenge is to see if you can rewind and come out nice and slowly. Bring the hand back, swing the leg forward, bend the knee. Sometimes it's not that neat. Shake it out. Sometimes it practically topple over. When you're ready, do a little shift, reset. Whenever you're ready, drop the weight into your left leg and pick up your right knee. Drop the right hand, find the grip. Reach your foot forward. If you want, if you're steady enough, open out. If you still feel steady and you want more, open the other way. And see how much slowness and control you can muster to bring the hand back, bring the foot forward. Very good. Shake it out. And let's have a seat. Yes, and let's have a drink. And some forward folds. Extend your legs forward. Flex your feet back towards you. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, fold down over your legs. If your knees want to bend here, just let them bend. And see if your breath might deepen the fold. As you inhale, think of the crown of your head reaching forward. As you exhale, think of lowering some more. Inhaling, walk your hands up the front of your legs. And let your arms help you sit up. Now let your arms help your legs open out as far as they can, wherever that is for you. Now we'll do something like tree pose. Let your arms help your legs. Bring your foot over to the opposite thigh or knee. Pivot your torso. Aim your sternum at your right foot and flex your right toes towards you. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold down over that leg. And take a couple breaths, seeing if maybe you go a little deeper into that fold. We're going to explore some variation here, get into the compression in the middle of the lower back. So first, some binds. Open your right arm to the side, turn your head to follow your hand, then rotate your arm so your thumb points down, bend your elbow, bring the back of your hands towards your left hip, and peel your right shoulder back. So maybe your hand comes to your hip, maybe it comes to your sacrum, maybe somewhere in between. Extend your arm, turn your thumb back up, and then slide that hand back over by your left hand. Now, similarly with the other arm, open your left arm all the way out and turn your head to follow. Rotate your arm, point your thumb down, bend your elbow, bring the hand towards the right hip, and peel your left shoulder back. Extend your arm again, turn your thumb up, then reach that left arm up alongside your ear, overhead, like you want to bring the left hand to the right hand. And here's where you really feel it, that spot above the sacrum, the center of the lower back, which gets compressed from sitting a lot. And it seems this year like we've all been sitting more than we used to. Slowly reach up and out again, and just swing that arm back over by the other one. Walk your hands up the front of your leg. Let your arms help. Extend the left leg, bend the right leg, bring the foot over, pivot your torso, flex your left foot. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, fold down. Take a couple breaths. Slowly open your left arm to the side, turn your head towards your hand. Point your thumb down. Bring the back of your hand towards your right hip and peel your left shoulder back. Extend your arm, undo that rotation, swing that left hand back over by the right hand. Open your right arm to the side, turn your head, turn your thumb down, bend your elbow, bring the back of your hand towards your left hip and peel your right shoulder back. Extend your arm, turn your thumb up, reach your arm up alongside your ear, overhead, in the direction of the other arm. Yeah, just let your head be wherever your neck is comfortable. Sometimes we get into these postures and sit there going, where's my head supposed to be? I see people looking around trying to go, where's my head supposed to be? Anywhere it feels okay. Take care of your neck. Reach up and out and sweep your arm across. Walk your hands up your leg. Let your arms help. Extend the right leg. Nudge your legs towards each other. Bring the soles of your feet together a good distance away from your pelvis. So there's this big space between your heels and your groin. Slide your hands under your ankles. Grab the mat. If that doesn't work for you, you could reach over the ankles and grab the mat. And walk your hands forward. And let your neck go. Let your head drop. And breathe into that space above the sacrum. Slowly walk your hands back, press up to a seat. One more fold. Now bring your heels in as close as you can with the soles of your feet together. Interlace your fingers and ground the tops of your toes. And then wriggle on your seat to bring the bones in your seat closer to the floor. Tilt your pelvis forward. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. As you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward with your spine long at first. See how far down the long spine will go. And when it's not lowering anymore, let your neck disengage and breathe into your hips. Inhale, slowly sit up. Let your arms help your legs. Lift your knees towards each other. Rest your feet on the floor. Rest your hands on the floor. Wiggle your feet further apart, maybe by the edges of your mat. And let your knees go back and forth to whatever degree they want to. This is like taking a tour of this space you cleared in your hips. And you might, as the knees go to one side, reach the opposite arm and opposite hip up. That might feel good. It's like a celebratory movement. Sort of like flipping your dog, the pose we call flip dog or wild thing or rock star. There's a really long and beautiful name in Sanskrit that I can't recall. It translates roughly to the ecstatic opening of the jubilant heart, or the jubilant opening of the ecstatic heart. It makes wild things sound really crass. And let's come down onto our backs. I'm going to spin myself around here. Bring your hands behind you, come down on your forearms, and down onto your back. And cross your left knee over your right knee. Reach your arms to the sides. Keeping your shoulders on the ground, let your legs go to the right and turn your head to the left. A somewhat similar action to the twist we did with the strap earlier, different leg configuration. So we're getting into the lumbar part of the back as well as the outer hip, not so much focusing on the hip socket itself here, more about the spinal twist and the lumbar muscles. Come back to center and cross your legs the other way. Take the other twist, let the legs go to the left and turn your head to the right. Come back to center. Uncross your legs, plant both feet. And do a little bridge pose if you want. You could put a block between your knees like this on the middle position. Bring your heels in as close to your butt as you can. Press into the soles of your feet. Inhale to lift your hips up into bridge. If you want deeper heart opening here, you might wriggle your shoulder blades towards each other and clasp your hands under your sacrum and reach your knuckles towards your heels. If you're clasping your hands, release them. Exhale, slowly let your hips come down. If you had a block there, move it out of the way. Bring your knees to your chest, hug your knees, rock and roll, massage your back against the floor. Reach your feet towards the ceiling. Reach your hands up, take hold of your legs or your feet, however you like, and play with bending and straightening your arms and legs in happy baby pose. As much or as little movement as you want. You can invert for as long as you want. I like to give it at least a minute. Maybe you want longer. If you want to do some other inversion, of course you may. I put out a video from Friday when nobody joined me for class. Spent just maybe 15 minutes, I think. I did a headstand tutorial. If you want to play with those, you can look up Friday's video on YouTube. When you feel complete with your inversion, you can make your way to your final resting pose. Maybe it's corpse pose, traditional Shavasana, legs extended, feet splayed open, hands at your sides. If that's not comfortable, make yourself comfortable. You can conclude practice in any posture where you can be comfortably still for a couple minutes. All you really need to do is breathe. Your breathing will naturally get slower and deeper as you find your comfortable stillness. You may focus on your breathing as a simple meditation, or recall an intention you set for yourself to reflect upon, or just set your mind free for a couple minutes. Each breath may be bringing a little more relaxation, bringing you a little closer to the ground. Start to find some deeper breaths. Let your body begin moving bit by bit, moving mindfully and gently, allowing your movements to gradually grow bigger, taking your time. When you're ready for bigger movements, gently sitting up. Bring your hands up by your heart if you like. Thank you for joining me in practice today. The light within me sees and bows to that same light within you. Namaste. Again, I'm Leo Bray. On behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center, visit us online at urbanyoga.org or Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center on Facebook. Stop by the tip jar, check out our schedule. Questions and feedback are always welcome. You can leave comments on YouTube or give comments live in person when you're here. See you next time.